How's it, Godzilla fans, kaiju fans, collectors, and just general people of YouTube? This is Chanzilla 1964 coming back to you with yet another figure review. A figure review I was not expecting to be doing for as long as this channel is running, because it's another Godzilla 1964 figure, and it's a wholly new mold. Yeah, I mean, that just being said, let's just get right into the review, because there's a lot. And there's a lot. It's a lot having this figure, and I love this figure. And sadly, I will be retiring the old figure. That way he can just go into retirement pretty much, and then we're going to be using this version of the figure, this version of 64 more, as the channel's mascot moving forward. So yeah, with that being said, let's get right in the review. Starting with detail for this guy. The detail work on this 64 figure is amazing. This is like, it's really good, and it's kind of more on par with the newer kind of mold that Bandai's been using. Like, for instance, SH Monster Arts, their mold of the 64 Godzilla is very different from the original Bandai Memorial Box 64, which I'll bring out in a minute. But just to cover, here is the face. The face looks very nice, very menacing and 64-ish. You got the prominent brow, the snarling face here, the puffy cheeks, reminiscent of 64. And now this figure still has the nice neck fold over here, wonderful chest detail, Showa Godzilla chest detail. Then you got really nice scaling patterns going on all over his body. You have nice knee detail over here. The feet are very nicely detailed as well, with the webbed foot, the webbed toes, and you get the segments for the toes too for this guy, so it's really nice. Here's the back of the legs, the underside, and while we're over here, his tail, the underside of his tail is very nice Showa Godzilla tail detail. We have the same scaling pattern on the two sides of the tail, and then if we follow the scaling pattern, we get to the hands, and the hands are really quite well done. You get the segmented figures for Godzilla here, or not figures, sorry, fingers for Godzilla here, and you get really nicely detailed fingernails. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, the hand is very nicely detailed, and here's the inside of the hand. Got a little bit of detail in there, looking really good. I was going to get to the face, but let's go for the dorsal plates first. The dorsal plates, very nice bump details on them. And very nice kind of, not grooves, but like just bone detail, essentially, is kind of the best way I can describe it. There's some bony detail with bumps included, which is really cool, really nice. The dorsal plates go all the way here, and then it drops really kind of suddenly to the small dorsal plates, which is interesting, but not a really big thing for me. And then we get to the head, the face. The main attraction for me for the 64 Godzilla, since it's kind of like the grumpy old man face, and it's probably the most not ferocious, but I want to say pissed off looking Godzilla, even though the right word for it is grumpy. The most grumpy looking Godzilla is 64. But I mean, for me, what always attracted me to this design was this Godzilla's eyebrows, and just the eyebrows pretty much is really what really attracted me to this Godzilla. The face is really well done, from the individual little kind of pores for Godzilla's cheeks and his little nose. His eyebrows are, I mean, they're smooth, but they look right, and they look really good. And then you get the inside of the mouth detail. You see Godzilla's tongue here, if the camera will catch it and the lights will catch it. You see Godzilla's tongue in there. Then you got his individually sculpted teeth with the gum backdrop. Yeah, inside the mouth detail, very nice. Now for the question, the big question that everyone should be asking: how does this figure compare to this figure, the original Godzilla 1964 figure. And as you can tell right off the bat, they're two different figures. Yeah, they're two different figures. Like, for instance, this one is shorter, and this one is looking a little more forward. Whereas this one is looking, his neck is a little more hunched compared to this one. So while this one's looking forward, he's also got a little more of a hunch because he's, well, taller. And plus he looks like an old man. So he's, yeah, old man Godzilla. This one right here. On top of that, the bumpy detail that shows up on this one's dorsal plates is not showing up on this one's. So it's just all the minute details, like the hand detail is updated quite well. The feet detail is updated quite nicely where we can see the segmented toes a little better. Plus this one's feet is smaller now compared to this one where the toes are less spread out. The knee detail is pretty much the same as is the chest detail. Only thing I can say of the chest is that this one is a little more smooth, but the real big differences are definitely the faces. Granted, I will say this, I am gonna miss the look of this figure a lot more. I'm not getting rid of him, but I know you guys are gonna miss it because he looks a lot more grumpy than this one. This one looks a little more toned down on the angry side, I guess you can say, but it is also a lot more screen accurate than this one. Not a lot, that's an exaggeration. He's quite a bit more screen accurate than this one is what I meant to say, especially with the hunch, which is the biggest thing that I noticed and the biggest thing that I really liked about this figure is that he's a little more hunched over than this guy. So yeah, that was my big selling point. Now, while I have them here, we should jump to the topic of paint. The paint on this guy is also a lot more movie accurate. However, it does not compare to the paint on this guy because this guy's paint job is, while it's not wholly screen accurate, it does at least cover all the bases. The chest, there's a little bit of chest paint. The inside of the mouth paint, eyebrows are painted, toenails, fingernails are painted, and all of the spines going all the way to the tip of the tail are painted. Okay. And now looking at this guy, eyebrows are painted very nicely, eyes are painted very nicely, inside of the mouth is painted very nicely, and everything is painted. Fingernails painted nicely, toenails painted nicely, chest, really nice paint on it. And then we get to the dorsal plates. The paint does not start at this dorsal plate like it does on the old figure, but it does start from here, and we got this really nice bone white paint that goes from this dorsal plate all the way down, and it stops right here. Stops right here, and there's no other paint on the rest of the dorsal plates, unlike the other figure, the older figure, which is kind of a bummer because this is a really awesome update for the 64 Godzilla figure, and I really like this update. It just doesn't hold its own against the Memorial Box version, which granted, this is the Memorial Box version Godzilla 1964, so it is a little more special. However, if this is a Godzilla Store exclusive, it should hold some sort of ranking where at the very least we could get the rest of the tail painted, even though it's Bandai. I'm expecting it. However, I am still going to voice my disdain about it because it's a shame we don't get all the dorsal plates to the tip of the tail painted, but I am not going to really throw any more of a fit than I already am about it. It just is what it is. Everything else I'm really happy with. All the paint, all the detail is really good. I'm over the moon about this 1964 figure. Maybe my newest favorite Godzilla figure, since I am going to be retiring this guy, although this guy will always hold a special place in my heart. I do not want to keep using him a lot because I don't want him getting damaged. So he's going to be on a shelf retired with my 1955 and my 1984 Memorial Box Godzilla figures for collector's sake. Yeah. Since we covered paint and detail, here is size comparison. And here we have the two Mothra larva twins. I would say that they size up pretty nicely with Godzilla here. I mean, granted, the Mothra larva twins might be a bit big because there are not a lot smaller. Not like it's not half the size. However, they are about 3/4 of the size of this. So it's not a matter of this figure being too small. It's a matter of these two being a little too big, which is a trend for the Mothra larva figures for Bandai, which I get. I do not mind. But all things considered, they size up really nicely together. Doesn't affect any playability. They size up well together. However, the real test would be a Mothra 1964 figure, which we do not have. I do not currently have the Mothra 19... I want to say 93 figure. I think it's 93 off the shelf right now, but I do have my Marusan Mothra figure, which was glow in the dark, but I custom painted her because I needed a 1964 Mothra figure. But here's the 1964 Mothra figure from Marusan. She goes for a pretty penny on eBay, so if you're able to get her, that's great. I paid about $300 for mine. I'm not sure how much she's going for now, so just be careful not to overpay, like I always say. But if you get this figure, she is about... This is actually movie accurate because she's like as tall as Godzilla, and when she's dragging him, I'd say that's pretty movie accurate. So the only soft vinyl Mothra imago form figure of 1964 Mothra or even 1961 Mothra that we have in market right now, because we don't have a Bandai one, sizes up perfectly with this Godzilla. Whoops. Sizes up perfectly with this Godzilla. So sizing wise, this Godzilla does really, really well as well. Okay, so overall, what do I think about this figure? I think that this figure is a really amazing figure overall, honestly. The only downside to it is that the dorsal plates are not painted all the way down, even though that's a minor gripe. That's something we expected from Bandai because Bandai is doing what Bandai does pretty much in regards to the Godzilla dorsal plates and paint nowadays, where they are skimping on the paint for some figures, which they have their reasons for it. I'm not going to assume. I don't know why. I'm not going to bother looking into it because I got better stuff to do. I'm just happy we have 1964 Godzilla figure that's relatively very well painted. Not even relatively. It is very well painted. Despite a minimal lack of paint. Really amazingly well detailed. Really good articulation. Oh, that's what I forgot was articulation. For articulation for this guy, this head goes 360. His arms can go 360, although just be careful because they do rub against the side of his thigh, so in reality it goes kind of 2/3 of the way. The legs can go about 2/3 of the way too. Only thing is that the scales rub up against each other, and there's this kind of... Oh, nope, never mind. But the scales rub up against each other, so just be careful. There is a glue seal at the tail, however, the tail doesn't move, so this guy has a total of 5 points of articulation, which is the same points of articulation that the original figure had. So, I'm really happy Bandai did not take away the head articulation for this guy. Yeah. Really good articulation, and really good detail. And to top it all off, it sizes up really well with the only other soft vinyl Mothra figure from that era. So, I think it's a really, really good figure. Anyways, though, this will do it for today's review, guys. I just want to thank you all one last time before I am officially retired as a figure and I pass it off to pretty much the new guy. Yeah, I just want to thank you all for following and subscribing and watching Chanzilla 1964. I hope you guys continue to watch it after my retirement even though it shouldn't be anything different because it's the same person, just different different body, I guess. Yeah, different body, I guess. But this is me wishing the new me all the best and the best of luck with dealing with Chanzilla, because he's a serious pain in the ass. But anyways, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. If you like what you see on the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you think we may miss anything, or if you want me to stick around as the official figure instead of this guy, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Even though well, what was I talking about? You see, this is why you're getting retired. Anyways, this has been Godzilla 1964 saying, until next time, guys. Peace. I think you did pretty good. Yeah, you did really good at your part, and kind of playing off the whole retirement thing there. I wasn't playing.